This video is going to be made on installing preforms for arrow points for sale, and I'm going to show you how to do it real fast and how to get them ready, and I'll sell these. I'm probably going to break a lot because I work real fast doing this. I have to produce them fast and sell them cheap enough. I don't know if you noticed, I'm not taking time to grind anything. I will in a few minutes, but it just takes a lot of time out to stop and grind. So I'm kind of hitting above my edges like that, so I don't have to stop and grind. This is a piece of Alabama coastal. Right now then I'm gonna grind a little bit. I use my smooth grinder. It's got a finer texture to it when I'm doing these. Not going to say too much while I'm doing these because I go talking and hitting and mess up. Just like that right there. It's still okay though. The shell right there. See the ridges of the shell, the lines where it was some kind of sea creature shell come out of the ocean. Might have been oyster, who knows. Anyway, that's one for an arrowhead that's ready. All right. Here goes two. All right, here's the second one. Okay. This is a bigger one here. Yeah, this billet's big enough. I should say I might ought to start down to a bigger billet. And I did not look at the phone screen to see if this is, yeah, y'all could see that. Okay. One thing I like about these hollow copper billets, you can get away with not having to grind the edges so much. I have to take all that time up when you're in a hurry. is a Cortex. On top here I'm working on now. This was out of the edge of that buffalo. This is some Buffalo River. That last piece I just done was an evacuate. Comes out of Hot Springs, Arkansas, the only place that it's found. So I've been told in the United States, I've been told that for a long time, so I guess it's true. I do know this. I was the first person to ever quarry it, to sell it out of Mr. Wallace's quarry up there in Arkansas. I discovered that by accident. Mr. Wallace was a good friend of a friend of mine. I was up there visiting him and go fishing, and he said something about his neighbor made whetstones. They had quit making them, used to make them, but gotten out of the business, but he still had the quarry. And anyway, we called him and went there and met him, and they were crushing it for road pavement. They still were working the quarry, they just wasn't making whetstones anymore. They were crushing it all to sell for mixing asphalt and stuff, pave highways. And he gave me a truckload of it. Backed my truck up and they already had it in the shop, just loaded it down. So if it works for you, I'll sell it to you. Paying 25 cents a pound for it. Before I quit fooling with it, we were paying probably, I don't know, 50 cents a pound maybe. That little town and community it was in, that was right out of Melbourne, I can't remember which one it was. It's called Magnet Cove, Arkansas. And now, Mr. Wallace's son-in-law is a flint knapper. His grandson, I'm sorry. Mr. Wallace's son, Robert Parker's passed away. I should have said his grandson. Robert's son, Robert Parker's son. Okay, that one's ready. All right, we got 1, 2, 3. Let's get in that water break real quick. All right, let's come in and grab us another one. Another piece of buffalo. This is real good, high-graded buffalo I've had for a long time. Had it put back for a rainy day, and I just decided to start using it a while back. Something I used to sell a long time ago. Rex Moore sold it. Y'all ever bought in Buffalo River from Rex Moore? We were business partners. I put Rex Moore in the business. Rex Moore knew nothing about nothing when it comes to flint knapping the rocks, and I met him, and he collected. He had a big artifact collection, and he couldn't believe I could flint, and that you could make them, somebody could make them. He didn't think anybody could make them anymore. We got to be friends, and he told me he thought he could find some flint, and he didn't know what to look for, and I went with him and trained him what was good and what was bad, and made a deal with him. I said, we'll sell this. I took him to Knapping and got him to meeting people out in Texas. I wanted to have him was in Texas. Wasn't having any in Tennessee. And every time he would sell something, he'd make as much as he wanted to make off of it. I didn't care the deal I had with him, and the business end of mine was he started off selling it for $1 a pound, and I could get it for 50 cents a pound. And then we finally went up, as rocks went up to $2 a pound. I could buy it for $1 a pound. And then when he went up, I think to maybe $2.50 before he died. I'd gotten out of the business for a long time and hadn't bought none from him in a long time. So when I come back into business, I didn't mention the deal we had or anything, and he still knocked 50 cents off for me. He didn't have to, because I'd gotten out fooling with it. Rex was a great guy, very honest person. I like Mr. Rex Moore. He was my buddy. Spent many nights in his house with him and his wife Jerry Lou. Watched him buy land from selling rocks. Money he made off selling rocks, he was able to buy more land. Okay, this one's ready to set the base right here. I like to kind of get the base pretty thin before I sell them for preform. And got a little high rise here. Take off, come back over this side. Got a hinge right in the middle on the base on this side I want to take out. And it'll be ready. Chopping down on it, raise the edge up. Easing into it. Don't hit too hard, the head is gone. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 of them. Here's another piece of fine buffalo. I mean real fine buffalo. I got the jet black. This is dark gray here. Real waxy and shiny. Look at the shine on it. That's like butter. I sold some bad buffalo. Show you how much I knew about it after Rex got out of the business. Somebody was selling some buffalo and I just got back in it and I bought it and went to a Knapping and had it in my truck and never hit it or touched it. And Rex, the stuff we got, the stuff me and Rex got, or at least Rex got when I trained him and all, it just wasn't no bad. Every bit of it was fine stuff. But then they come out getting some of this stuff that looked just like the other stuff. Looked exactly like it, but it was grainy. You know, you could work it, but it was real grainy. And I bought some up from some guy. And I thought it was the same thing, and I left, went straight to Knapping with it in my truck, and I sold it to a few people that they told me, man, that stuff isn't no good. So I made it good. I sent them some other rock and other material and stuff, but I learned a lesson real quick. You can't judge a rock by its cover. I thought it was good looking stuff. I should have known better, but I've been working it for like 18 years, and everything Rex had, 99% of it was good. Rex had learned how, I guess, he was grading in the creek, I guess is what it was, 'cause that's what we originally started doing when I was training him. And I said, Rex, that's not any good, and that's good. He had a little hammer he'd take with him and break on, but I learned a lesson there, you know. You better start beating on rock before you sell it. And you need to know how to flint that good. A lot of these guys just getting started, they got know where a bunch of rocks at, and they go get it and try to sell it. A lot of times they sell a lot of bad stuff in it. It hurts them, and they don't realize it. I remember buying rocks for 25 cents a pound. We thought that was a lot of money. Okay, that one's ready to go. Reach down in and come up with a nutting. I'm gonna try to find me another piece of Novaculi. There's a piece of Novaculi. This one's like got some cracks in it. I don't know if I'm gonna get a big piece out of it or not. I made 800 knives out of Novaculi one time for a store called Cutter World. I think they're in California with their headquarters. They sent me a purchase order for 800 knives. I told them, I said, man, it's going to take me months to make these. They said, we're not in no hurry. And when Mr. Wallace, I was telling you about, got out of Whetstone business, he had about 15 saws, and they all were like worked off of hydraulics. You loosen the knob and the thing would fall and pull the blade too faster. And I asked him if he'd selling them. He told me he's gonna sell all of them, and I bought 4 of them. And my son was a teenager, and I taught him how to run in the Novaculi. I had 2 kills, big kills, and he would saw rocks all day with that many saws. He could saw a little more than I could keep up with once we got them heat treated. And I hired another guy, a friend of mine, and he was a lot older than me, but he was semi-retired. He had a lot of time on his hands. And we used to fish a lot together. And I hired him, and he would had a bandsaw, and he would cut my antlers up and glue them. I used real high glue, and he would glue them up. And I wrapped them with rawhide strips. And I bought my handles out of Houston, Texas, some kind of stag. I think it was called Texas Knife Maker Supply for steel blade knives or something like that was the name of the company. And they were getting them from overseas somewhere. And I'd buy my handles from them, and they were $2 a piece back here. And I thought that was outrageous. But it's the only place I could find that many handles. They had to order them. They didn't have that many at one time, but the time I used the ones up they had in stock, they already had the rest of them in for me. Didn't hold me back on my order. But once I got that order out, I set up and knew what to do. And they would order 400 or 600 after that at a time for like 2 years. And had them in my house drying. I'd go up to the molding on the ceiling, put me a nail in it, crown molding, and tie me a straight to it and tie it all the way across the room. I'd have like 50 knives go across the room. And in the wintertime, especially with heat on, that hide glue would dry real quick. And like there's a beautiful Novaculi, real shiny, high-grade Novaculi. And that's the way I would make them. Now, the good part of that story is, I hadn't told you yet, they paid 30 days after they received shipment. They'd send me a purchase order, and I made them a knife, and 30 days later I'd get a check. Well, it was actually a little more than 30 days, because they wrote the check 30 days later. It had come in the mail. I had a brother-in-law that worked for the bank here in town, and I wasn't familiar with that system, and it scared me when they told me what they wanted to do. So they sent me a purchase order, and I took it to him, and he checked them out, and he said, man, they're a A-plus company. They got 400 and something stores in the United States. A lot of big companies, that's the way they work, and you ain't got a thing to worry about. They got great credit ratings and everything. So I worked for them for a year and a half, and made them over 2,000 knives probably in that time period. And they caught me at Christmas, And always they'd give me an order about right after Thanksgiving for Christmas. And they'd give me time to get them there, but they'd have a deadline. They said if I couldn't get them there by a certain time, not to bother sending them. And I never had no problem making a deadline. They would give me plenty of time. So this year, I got ready to mail them about the middle of the first week of December. And they called me. They have never called me before for an order. And they called me and said, if you make us another 300, you get them here by 7 days before Christmas, we'll take them. And I said, I'll do it. Man, I never worked so hard in my life. I worked from daylight to 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I had knives hanging all over my house, saws running. And I was the only one that chipped. My son never fooled with that much. Later on he did. He got interested and he got real good at it, and then he lost interest. But I got that order out and sent it to him, and I set it overnight. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. I sent it overnight so they could get it on time. And I forgot what that cost. It's not much money now, but it was a lot of money then. I mean, it was a chunk of money out of my pocket. And about the time they got them, about a week after they had them, it was time for me to get my money on the first bunch I sent them that I got the November purchase order on. And it didn't show up. So then Christmas come and it didn't show up, and then New Year, my wife told me, she said, I'm getting real concerned about it. And I said, well, ain't nothing to worry about. I said, it's just rush hour, rush mail, you know, time of year everybody's in a hurry like rush hour is what I told her. And I said, mail's going out like crazy. And I said, we'll get it any day. About 3 more days go by, and she said, all right, they're 2 weeks late. She said, you need to call somebody. So all those purchase orders had a number to call on. And I called that number and asked to speak to somebody that was over that department. And this lady said, what could she do for me? And I said, well, I got a purchase order for this much money. And I should have been paid on it a couple of weeks ago. And I sent you another bunch of knives. And they called me on them, but they gave me a purchase order number. I don't have it, but they gave me a number for it. And I said they were in a real big hurry, and I sent them overnight and got them out to them. And I said, I just wondered if I've been paid yet, or if you give me the update on it or anything like that. And she said, I'm not allowed to comment. We cleared bankruptcy. And I said, well, if you clear bankruptcy, you sit on my knife back. She said, well, according to the law, they can't. And I said, what are you talking about? I wasn't familiar with no bankruptcy law. She said, once they receive it, it's theirs and they can't send it back. So I lost money on about probably a total of $500, both orders. I don't remember now. I try not to remember it all. I try to forget all of it. Boy, that knocked the wind out of my sails. Whew. If any of y'all wondering who it was, the name of the company was Cuttery. Like not just cut, but Cuttery World. Cuttery World. They sold everything from swing blades to hatchets to kitchen knives, you name it. And they had a store in every state. Like some states, like in Florida, they had 4 or 5 stores in big cities. California had several stores. In Mississippi, where I live, they just had one. It was in Jackson, the state capital, in a mall there. In Louisiana, they had 2, 3. One in Baton Rouge, one in New Orleans, and one in Monroe. Conland Mall in Monroe's where that was located at. Alright, I'm talking and forgetting this is a preform. I'm trying to make this thing as pretty as I can. Alright, there's another one. Okay, we're going to cut it off. I'm going to make about 50 of these in a little bit. Y'all have a blessed day.